The story of Brian Blackwell, a portrait of narcissism, deception, and tragedy. Brian Blackwell seemed like the perfect son, a high-achieving student, destined for greatness. But beneath the surface of his seemingly perfect life was a dark and twisted reality. His story is not just one of deception and lies. It's a chilling tale of narcissism, manipulation, and murder. The perfect son. Brian Blackwell was born in Liverpool in 1985 to Sydney and Jacqueline Blackwell, an affluent and proud couple. Sydney, a 71-year-old businessman, and Jacqueline, a 60-year-old homemaker, had one child late in life, and they made it their mission to ensure Brian's success. From an early age, Brian showed promise. He attended the prestigious Liverpool College, where his parents spared no expense, paying £7,000 per year to ensure their son received the best education. Teachers praised him as polite, hardworking, and gifted, a model student. Sydney and Jacqueline couldn't have been prouder. They often referred to him as Brains, a nickname that captured their unwavering belief that Brian was destined for greatness. But beneath the surface, Brian's perfect persona concealed something far more sinister. A darkness was beginning to take hold, one that even his devoted parents couldn't see. The rise of narcissism. By the time Brian reached his teenage years, cracks began to show in his flawless facade. Diagnosed later with narcissistic personality disorder, NPD, Brian exhibited classic traits: an inflated sense of self-importance, a need for admiration, and a complete lack of empathy for others. Narcissistic personality disorder is more than arrogance. It's a distortion of reality. For Brian, the condition fueled delusions of grandeur. At first it started small, exaggerating grades or achievements. But soon it spiraled into a web of lies so elaborate that it consumed every part of his life. A web of lies. By 2004, Brian's fabrications had reached audacious levels. He claimed to be a professional tennis player, boasting of sponsorship deals from Nike and Adidas. He told friends he drove a $60,000 Mercedes and owned a $450,000 apartment in Southport. But none of it was true. In reality, Brian was a teenager with a junior tennis contract, granting him only discounted equipment. His lies grew bolder as he tried to maintain his illusion of success. Brian's girlfriend, Amal Saba, was swept up in his fantasy world. Despite the blatant dishonesty, Brian's charm and manipulation kept her under his spell. The tipping point. By July 2004, Brian's lies began unraveling. His parents, once his staunchest supporters, were growing suspicious of his extravagant claims. Confrontations became more frequent, and Brian felt his carefully crafted image slipping away. To Brian, his parents became obstacles. In his mind, they were no longer helping him achieve success. They were holding him back. On the morning of July 25, 2004, Brian reached his breaking point. In a fit of rage, he brutally murdered his father, Sydney, stabbing him over 30 times and striking him with a claw hammer. His mother, Jacqueline, met the same fate, stabbed 20 times and beaten. Chilling getaway. With his parents' bodies decomposing in their home, Brian showed no remorse. He used his father's credit card to fund a lavish holiday to the United States with Amal. They stayed in the presidential suite of the Plaza Hotel in New York, costing £2,200 per night. From New York to Florida, Barbados to San Francisco, Brian lived the fantasy life he always dreamed of. But while Brian indulged in luxury, the truth was waiting to be discovered back in Liverpool. The discovery. The Blackwell home remained silent for weeks until September 5, 2004, when neighbors reported a foul smell. Police arrived to find a gruesome scene. Sydney's body slumped in an armchair and Jacqueline's in the bathroom. The once perfect family home had become a house of horrors. The arrest. When confronted by police, Brian denied everything. He claimed to have been on holiday during the murders and even suggested that his parents were alive and well when he left. But as detectives pieced together evidence, his spending spree, his lies, and forensic evidence, Brian's story unraveled. Under intense questioning, Brian eventually confessed, blaming his actions on his mental health condition. Experts diagnosed him with narcissistic personality disorder, which they believed fueled his lack of empathy and violent tendencies. The trial and aftermath. In November 2004, Brian Blackwell was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 12 years. The judge described the case as a terrible family tragedy, highlighting Brian's cold, calculated actions. But even in the courtroom, Brian's lack of remorse and empathy was chilling. While he expressed regret, his actions painted a very different picture. Brian Blackwell's story is a haunting reminder of how unchecked narcissism and a thirst for control can lead to unimaginable tragedy. Behind the mask of perfection lay a killer, whose lies unraveled in the most horrific way possible. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more true crime mysteries. This is Dark Britain Files, uncovering the stories that refuse to be forgotten.